Hey Orlando, what is the true cost of living here? Does it make sense for us to live here, and how do we compare to other big cities? This is a really good question, and I think we need to kind of explore it. And you're probably gonna have to stay all the way to the end, because I do have a really big question for you on how this relates to other things we're doing in life. So stay tuned all the way to the end. So we actually have 6 really big points here related to the true cost of living in Central Florida. Number 1, housing cost. How do we relate housing costs to some of the bigger metropolitan areas in, well, not just in the state, but also across the country? I would say that overall, housing is still actually very affordable here. If you go and compare us to some of the bigger cities up and down the eastern seaboard, or maybe even all the way out to California, you would find us to be a very reasonable city when it comes to housing costs. We're going to be much lower than some of the bigger cities like Miami. The costs are going to be less than that. You can still actually get a fairly affordable home and actually still get in with a pretty decent cost. This is a really good way of going. Down payments, especially for first-time homebuyers, you don't have to put 20% down. You can get by with as little as 3% down. In some cases, there are grants, there are down payment assistance programs that can help you get in for even less than that. So there's all sorts of great ways to help you get into these houses. Or if you're relocating to town and you're putting some money down on a property, you probably will find that you'll be able to buy a whole lot more than what you were used to, especially if you're coming from a northern state. So housing costs are actually pretty affordable. I would say it's not a bad place to live. Number 2, utilities. Yeah, utilities seem like those are growing all the time. We're in the Sunshine State, so that's a really big deal because we don't really have a whole lot of heating costs. Heating is not a big deal in Florida. We tend to have all the sun we need and the solar gain. Now, what we do have is air conditioning. Air conditioning can be a constant thing throughout the summer months, starting from May into late September. But quite frankly, after that, it's not too bad. You don't necessarily have to have heat. Might have heat for a small period of time in December leading into January, but the winter months down here are very mild. And it's considered a fantastic playground for so many people who come from the north down to snowbird down here. The utility costs that you're going to run into are going to be the periods of time that you have air conditioning. Now, some of that stuff that we are seeing a lot of people getting solar panels or creating solar farms out there to try to help mitigate some of those costs. And that's actually pretty important. It might not be a bad idea to consider solar panels when it comes to that, to helping you with your utility costs when it comes to AC, but that's really going to be your biggest cost when it comes to utilities. For the most part, I would say the utilities are actually fairly affordable overall. By the way, my name is Chris Parks. It's probably a good idea to introduce myself. I'm with the Parks Mortgage Group, and I serve all of Central Florida, all of Florida really, but Central Florida primarily. And I would love the opportunity to talk to you and help you as you get ready to buy your home, whether it's this year, this month, this week, or even today. I'd love the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you. No obligation consultation, just sharing what the opportunities and maybe what some of the outcomes could be for you to help you get set up for success in buying a home. In fact, we're so deep into believing about how we're doing this, about how much value we bring to the community, that we've put together the Ultimate Home Buying Guide. And in this Ultimate Home Buying Guide, which you can download very easily from the pinned comments down below and also from the description and the links, you can get all that stuff down there. You can download it. What we're providing for you there is we're going to help you get pre-approved. We're going to help you make an offer. We're going to give you a guide on how to close the real estate deal, how to even vet a real estate agent. That's a really big and important part now that there are really big costs in transactions. So these are all parts and pieces of what we want to help you with. And guess what? This Ultimate Home Buying Guide, a lot of value, free. We put it together to give it away to you. And we're giving it away specifically so that we can help you as you make your move to the Central Florida area. We're going to be here. We'd love the opportunity to serve you and yours as you make the opportunity to move into the Central Florida area. Now, what is number 3? Number 3 is transportation. So transportation, most of the Central Florida area is going to be something that you're going to need a vehicle for. It's not necessarily as set up as some urban places with local transit. Now, I do have to say they're starting to include some of this. The Bright Line that they just included that goes down to Miami, that's a fantastic tool to get you out of town very quickly, very low cost. But if you're living in the Orlando area or the Central Florida area, you are going to be fairly car dependent. Now, as far as fuel costs are concerned, I would say we're about on the national average. It's not really going to be any higher, not significantly lower. It's going to be right in that ballpark when it comes to that. Now, they are working on transit opportunities for the future to try to make it a little bit more friendly and easier to get around without being car dependent. That's coming. It's not here yet. So transportation is one of those things that you might have a little bit more cost than what you're used to. As far as traffic is concerned, though, we're probably a mid-size area, so we're not really competing traffic-wise like some of the bigger cities, like what you would in Miami or New York City or some of the other ones like that. Probably some of the secondary markets or smaller markets. We think it's a lot of traffic, but it's really not terrible. You can get around pretty quickly. Number 4, What can we do with groceries and also dining? We have huge citrus farms down here, and the fruit down in this area is spectacularly good. So we have all the subtropical climates, and the fruit that we get down here seems to be so much better than what you can find up in the northern states, that I would say that the quality is really there. As far as cost is concerned, I would say it's still very affordable. It's still a very good way to be able to feed the family and take care of the family. I wouldn't say it's any less than what you're finding in the secondary markets, but I would say that it's certainly not more. And so affordability wise, you can find a pretty good way to take care of your family, and the quality of the fruit is actually pretty spectacular. I do have to say that's pretty good. Now dining, there's a lot of Michelin related restaurants around here, so it just depends on where you want to go with dining. Dining can have all sorts of breadths of cost, depending on where you want to go. There's some fantastic places to go out and entertain, and also to spend some time with the family dining out or with friends. The cost, I would say, is fairly reasonable compared to everything else I have seen. So I wouldn't say that that is higher than anything that you would find in any of the other states that we would be competing with. Number 5, entertainment and recreation. This is where the Central Florida area really does shine. Whether you want to go to the theme parks, whether it's Universal or Disney or SeaWorld or any of these other ones that are in the area, those are all opportunities for you. Those can be a little pricey for you, but I do have to say that some of these other things that you can do, entertainment and recreation wise, you can really go and do a whole lot with not a whole lot of money. They've got a bike trail that goes from the east coast of Florida all the way to the west coast. That's a fantastic ride, by the way, and it's actually pretty rural, so you're not necessarily having to run into traffic an awful lot. The closer you get to either coast, yes, you're going to have a little bit of traffic, but it is a dedicated bike trail the whole way. So this is actually a really good opportunity for you to get out, maybe backpack for a weekend or go tenting, and maybe you can get a chance to see the state as you go through on that bike trail. If you're into the sports scene, you can see I got a bunch of professional sports right in the Central Florida Orlando area. You've got the Orlando Magic, fantastic basketball team. You've got the Orlando Pride, which is a ladies soccer team, the Orlando City, which is the men's soccer team. And then, yeah, we've got a hockey team, the Solar Bears. Who would have even thought that we have a hockey team in Orlando where there's no natural ice? But anyway, it is an opportunity, some great, fantastic ways. And if you want to spend a little bit of time driving, holy cow, entertainment and recreation in the area, you can go to the Gulf Coast very easily and spend some time on those pristine beaches out there, or maybe go see a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game there as well. Or if you want to go east and go towards the Atlantic, you've got Cape Canaveral, the Kennedy Space Center, you've got Cocoa Beach, and you've got the Ron John Surf Shop. You've got all that stuff on the Space Coast where you can go and just relax and get out for a couple days or a day. It's really a simple 45-minute trip to pretty much either side of this. So right there in Central Florida, about 45 minutes to an hour one way or 45 minutes an hour the other way, and you can be on either coast. Very easy get out, very easy day trips. Certainly a great place when it comes to recreation and entertainment. Number 6, this is the best. There's no income tax. No income tax for the state of Florida. Yeah, this is fantastic. No income tax. Did I say that? Did I say that enough? No income tax? Yeah, this is a really big deal. Yeah, you are paying sales tax, but every other state has sales tax. The sales tax is not anything crazy compared to any of the other states. Yes, there are real estate taxes. They're a little bit higher because you don't have an income tax. But guess what? That zero income tax that you have right there for your state, that's a huge deal. That alone can help pay for a lot of these items that we've just talked about, the 5 items that we've talked about prior to this. It can really help your budget tremendously when it comes to this. Now, for the question of the day, how are you at budgeting? I know this is a crazy question. It's probably not one of those real attractive questions, but I know a lot of people who, if it's in the checkbook, they're ready to spend it. And I know some people who are so frugal that they wouldn't spend a dime unless they cut it in half. So you have to decide. I'd love to hear your statement on this. Are you budgeting? Are you a budgeter? Or are you a little bit more of a free spirit when it comes to your money? Anyway, love to hear that. And by all means, I'd love the opportunity to spend some time with you. No obligation consultation, setting you up for success, helping you as you move to the Central Florida area, whether it's next week, next month, or next year. We're going to be around, and we'd love the opportunity to serve you and your family as you make Central Florida or Orlando area your home. Thanks for the opportunity to serve.